For those of you who don't know, this did begin with an idea. The idea came from my mom without her knowing that it was her idea. But she gave me a marriage book back in 1992. It was Christmas, my junior year in college. I was quite certain at the time it was the lamest Christmas present I had ever or would ever receive. I wasn't even in a relationship at the time, but I was also alone at Christmas without my college friends, so I read the book. And in retrospect, my mom gave me this amazing gift. She gave me this great source of wisdom on marriage that showed how marriage was real and really a lot of work, but really worth it. And I read that book at a time when I did not have love chemicals flooding my brain, inhibiting clear thinking, and I didn't have a relationship to defend. So I literally just soaked it in and was like, oh, this is great, all right. And yes, it was convenient with that within 30 days, Julie and I started dating seriously. We'd already been friends 2.5 years, so when we started dating, we weren't thinking like maybe we'll just make out. Since we'd already been friends 2.5 years, and like, I think maybe we might get married, you need to read this book too. But bottom line, after 10 years of marriage, I felt like God wanted me to go back and reread that book and figure out how to trick other people into doing what my mom tricked me into doing. And that's why I'm standing here tonight, is because of my mom. The problems that Future Marriage University is called to answer is numerous. They are legion. It actually really kind of just started out as like, hey, let's try to end divorce. Let's try to limit divorce. And so we had this heart, let's try to help these people not get in bad marriages. Well, then really in that short period of time, which in my humble opinion, it is a short period of time, 2003 to now, we suddenly had new sexual norms. Of course, I realized that there was a sexual revolution back in the 60s, but no, in the last 10 years or so, the hookup culture has blown up. And for those of you that don't really know the 3 laws of the hookup culture, because there are laws, because even people that want to throw off laws still have to have laws, because we're made for laws, because God made us to live by laws. The laws are no definition, no expectation, no sobriety. In other words, we have sex, we're not even going to define what it is, which if you don't have a definition, you don't have any meaning. So we suck meaning out of sex. It means no expectations. In other words, there's no expectations for attachment or relationship whatsoever. That's not expected. In fact, if you stay until morning, you stayed too long. No sobriety. That means alcohol becomes both the accomplice. We needed to get drunk so we could do what we were going to do without any attachment or relationship. And then afterwards, it becomes the alibi. Yeah, well, I was drunk. And of course, we have the Me Too movement because of that. And even those not in the Me Too movement, I don't know if you know about the anonymous person Grace that a year ago came out with her accusations against the comedian Aziz Ansari, which, forgive me if I didn't say his name right, I don't really watch TV, but anyway, famous comedian. And she tells this tale of what was clearly, he wasn't rape or assault, and there was agreement, and yet she felt hollowed out and empty afterwards. And that's curious, because when they research college co-eds in the hookup culture, the majority agree, even the majority of males. See, we suddenly have this new sexual norm that we're trying to fight. We have a new sex ed norm. Did you know that? Do you know what the new sex ed is? Are y'all aware? Pornography. Siri, what is? And that's what's happening today. Barna asked Christians, what percentage of Christians view porn intentionally at least once a month? 2/3 of Christian men said yes. 15% of Christian women said yes. That might be why the National Association of Relationship and Marriage Education, whose conference will be here in Nashville, well, not here, but in Nashville in June, is having me do a workshop called How Porn is Keeping Men from Marriage, which is a 2-part series that actually contributed to Covenant Eyes. Because this porn thing it's destroying the ability for people to be satisfied with monogamy. There's a new commitment norm. I don't know if you knew that, but there is. It's called cohabitation. It's not just something people are experimenting with. It's now the new commitment norm. It's not only just permissible, like, well, yeah, it's okay. No, it's seen as practical. It's seen as, this is ironic, prudent. Like literally, you're going to marry them and you haven't even lived with them? That's clearly irresponsible. There's a new marriage norm, by the way. This just in. You ready for the new marriage norm? Marriage is not normal. There it is. Half of the adult population in the United States today is single. A little more than half of all adults are single. If you look at I'll tell you first, average age of marrying for females, 28, males, 30. That's a long time to wait. And then when you look at 25 to 34-year-olds, those millennials basically, that bracket, that time of first marriage, 70% of 25 to 34-year-olds in our country today are not married. Which brings in a new child-rearing norm. I mean, we already had kids out of wedlock because those teenage kids. Those teenage kids, yeah, they're millennial kids now. The majority of children to millennials across the board is out of wedlock. That's the new child-rearing norm. Incidentally, the average age at first birth, I told you average age at first marriage for females is 28. Average age at first birth for female, well, obviously for females. They don't know what it is for males yet, but they're working on that. 26. That's a gap in the wrong direction. So we started out Future Marriage University like, hey, let's save some future marriages. And in the course of a very short period of time, it really looks like we need to save the future of marriage. And that maybe sounds a little bit dramatic, but I watched the pictures last night of Notre Dame burning down. And it was horrifying, wasn't it? I mean, you're just like, whoa. I mean, that's terrible. And yet I'm here to tell you today that something way more amazing than a church building, not even more amazing than Notre Dame, is a burnt out shell today. And that's marriage. This is the reason. We didn't know at the time. We thought, let's help our friends. But this is the reason we established Future Marriage University. When we're out to change the mind of the culture about the biblical meaning, purpose, and significance of marriage. You can read a little bit about that on the back of your program. Don't do it now because you won't pay attention to me. But I just want to say, for right now, our culture has lost a vision for marriage. And sadly, even our church has totally lost a vision for marriage. And Proverbs 29:10 has something very powerful to say about a culture that loses a prophetic vision. It says, without a prophetic vision, the people, in the Hebrew it says, and I'm going to slaughter this, so just go ahead and it's okay. We're all friends here. Parah. Without a prophetic vision, the people parah. That word is interpreted in three really unique different ways in different versions of the Bible. It could either be cast off restraint, run wild, or perish. All in that one word, parah. So let's put that together, boys and girls. Without a prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint, run wild until they die. That's what we see today in a culture that has lost the very picture. The picture of God and His Son is not found in a church building, not even Notre Dame. It's supposed to be found in marriage. The picture of Christ's love for His church is not found in any church building. It's supposed to be found in marriage. The guy who wasn't even married that wrote a lot of the New Testament said it's a mystery. So we present what you've heard called Love Ed. It's short for Love Education, if you didn't figure that out. Like driver's ed, Love Ed. Yeah, I'm good with those little words. It's the missing link between the sex ed that we give in middle school that kids are now getting through pornography. Thank you very much. Without any help from any teachers or parents. We got it. We'll take it from here. We've actually seen pictures and videos. Thank you. Thanks for good. It's the missing link between that sex ed and the premarital that our culture will not give people until they think they've already found the one, which you guys know is too late. The decisions have already been made, whether they're good or bad. And I used to call what we do discipleship in disguise. And I don't know why I did that, because I realized that's really not true. This is discipleship ministry. We are here to disciple believers into understanding, preparing for, and discerning the call of marriage when it counts. Which is not, well, gee, I'm in love. I think I want to get married. No, that is too late. It's way early. So how do we do that? We have three main strategies. We have discipleship studies, which you've already heard about, relationology, purpose-driven dating, and beyond sex and salvation. Would you pray, though, that we could complete each of those three separate studies? Actually, beyond sex and salvation is a whole 3-book study all of its own. We'd love to have that in a package form so other goofy married people like Julie and I, and yes, she's goofy too, she is, so they can teach these same truths to kids at their church or their school. Our second strategy is online resources. I've written over 350 blog posts. A lot of them actually really pretty good. Like I go back and read them like 5-6 years later, and I'm like, whoa, I said that. Wow. Top 3 posts right now since the beginning of this year. I just took a quick look from January 1 till now. The most read post is it better to marry than to burn? Where we talk about Paul's words, which are generally used to justify imprudent marriages. That's not what Paul meant. We talk about that in this post. The second most read post so far this year, your boyfriend caught by porn. I don't think I have to explain that one, but it's pretty sad. That's the second most read post. Third, it's actually, in my humble opinion, even sadder, trying to earn love. To which I say, attention, love cannot be earned. Okay, thank you. Good night. People online wanting love so bad, wondering, how do I earn it? And I have a blog post that says, it's already yours. We also have over 100 YouTube videos that Julie and I have put up, and she is really proud of them. She would love if y'all all would go and watch more of her videos, because there's really nothing my wife loves more than being in front of people. But here's what Leon Felipe Acero Guevara said about our videos. Yes, that's his name, or at least that's his name in YouTube. I started watching your videos a few years ago when sexual sin was consuming my life. Today, I'm celebrating my first year of marriage. Your channel's been a blessing from Jesus himself. Judy W. says, you might think you're speaking to 20-somethings or even 30-somethings, to which I'm thinking, or teens. But I'm a 63-year-old widow of 9 years. I'm finally in a relationship with a wonderful Christian man, and we've decided to hold off on sex. It's strange for both of us, but it feels right, and we both have the desire to be obedient because we trust that God has placed us together for a purpose. Your talks have helped me understand this new approach to relational intimacy. I love that last line. This is brand new. I just made this up. Just came in. Julie and I, we were thinking, how could we do relational intimacy differently than the way they're doing it now? We just made it up, and this 63-year-old woman discovered, of course, it's right out of the Word. Would you pray for God to lead us to some people that can help us with our online marketing so we can reach more Judy W's and Leon Felipe Acero Guevara's? Third is speaking engagements. Abilene Christian University was a highlight for me. Spoke there, had a blast, shared the first 5 of the top 10 dumbest reasons to date in an auditorium with 3,000 college students at number 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And then I was like, I'm sorry, that's all we have time for this morning. We'll finish up the rest. Oh, that felt good. But what was really felt good is talking with the counselors. Yeah, I got counseling while I was there. So it really, really shaped me up. I got to have lunch with the counselors at lunch that day, and one of the counselors said, I had a client come in after your chapel talk this morning. She sat down in my office and said, today's chapel speaker was talking about me. And she went dumb reason by dumb reason by dumb reason. And she looked at me and she said, you're able to say things to our clients while they're sitting in the dark, and it's nothing personal. You're not talking directly to them. You're just hashing out some truth that they really need to hear, and then we can deal with the fallout of what you've done. And I'm like, great. That's just what I'm here to do. Another speaking story, Olivet Nazarene University, I did a talk, How Marriage Could Be More Fun Than a Nudist Colony, which is actually the last talk that I share in Purpose-Driven Dating. But the next morning, I was doing another talk that morning, and a girl came up to me, and she had tears in her eyes, because even though a lot of my talks have silly titles, they're actually, I like to punch people in the stomach after I made them laugh. And she had tears in her eyes, and she said, I'd always wondered what marriage was supposed to look like. And I always was like, I have no idea until last night. So we're out to change the mind of the culture about the biblical meaning, purpose, and significance of marriage. Mission accomplished that night. Would you pray about joining us in this mission?